Not too much to ask. We haven't had a good crop in 3 years, not since the bounty of 31. We're all whittled down to the bone these days, even Ma with her new round belly. But still, when the committee came asking, Ma donated 3 jars of applesauce and some cured pork and a feed sack nightie she'd sewn for our coming baby. February 1934. A feed sack nightie, think about that. So, when you were babies, or if you have baby brothers or sisters or cousins or whatever, babies are always put in nice little onesies, little cotton. They're comfy, right? Well, they didn't have money to just go buy clothes or to go buy fabric to do it, so they would take the feed sacks, literally, that they fed their animals with, like a feed sack. If you've ever seen one, they're actually not real soft, I don't think. Anyway, they take those feed sacks, and she would sew those into a little nightie for the baby to wear. Or sometimes, like they'd get like they'd go to the store and they'd get like a thing of flour. Like when your mom goes and gets like flour or sugar from the store, it comes in like a thick paper thing. Well, this would come in like a cloth top sack, and they would take those and turn them into clothing for the baby. So that's what she made right there. Okay, Mr. Hardley's money handling. It was Daddy's birthday, and Ma decided to bake him a cake. There wasn't money enough for anything like a real present. Ma sent me to fetch the extras with 50 cents she'd been hiding away. Don't go to Joyce City, Billy, she said. You can get what we need down Hardley's store. I slipped the coins in my sweater pocket, the pocket without the hole, thinking about how many sheets of new music 50 cents would buy. Mr. Hardley glared when the Wonder Bread door banged shut behind me. He squinted as I creaked across the wooden floor. Mr. Hardley was in the habit of charging too much for his stale food, and he made bad change when he thought he could get away with it. I squinted back at him as I gave him Ma's order. Mr. Hardley's been worse than normal, since his attic filled with dust and collapsed under the weight. He hired folks for the repairs and argued over every nail and every little minute. The whole place took shoveling for days before he could open again, and some stock was so bad it had to be thrown away. The stove clanked in the corner as Mr. Hardley filled Ma's order. I could smell apples, ground coffee, and peppermint. I sorted through the patterns on the feed bags, sneezed dust, blew my nose. When Mr. Hardley finished sacking my things, I paid the bill, and tucking the list in my pocket along with the change, hurried home, so Ma could bake the cake before Daddy came in. But after Ma emptied the sack, setting each packet out on the oilcloth, she counted her change. And I remembered with a sinking feeling that I hadn't kept an eye on Mr. Hardley's money handling, and Mr. Hardley had cheated again. Only this time he cheated himself, giving us 4 extra cents. 4 cents extra. You think 4 cents is a lot? 4 pennies. You could probably walk around for a while and find 4 pennies, right? But it was a lot then. 4 cents was a lot. So while Mom mixed a cake, I walked back to Mr. Hardley's store, back through the dust, back through the Wonder Bread door, and thinking about the secondhand music in a moldy box at the shop in Joyce City. Music I could have had for 2 cents a sheet. I placed Mr. Hardley's overpayment on the counter and turned to head back home. Mr. Hardley cleared his throat, and I wondered for a moment if he'd call me back to offer a piece of peppermint or pick me out an apple from the crate. But he didn't, and that's okay. Ma would have thrown a fit if I'd taken a gift from him. February 1934. So they gave him too much money, so she took it all the way back to the store. What do you think that suggests about their character? Kind, nice, honest people. 50 miles south of home. In Amarillo, wind blew plate glass windows in, tore electric signs down, ripped wheat straight out of the ground. February 1934. Rules of dining. Do y'all have rules for dining when y'all eat dinner at home?
No.
Most of the time, some families do. There's no rules at our house anymore. But a long time ago, when families really used to sit down and eat dinner together around the table, there were different rules. But it's not like that anymore. Okay, so rules of dining. Ma has rules for setting the table. I place plates upside down, glasses bottom side up. Napkins folded over forks, knives, and spoons. When dinner is ready, we sit down together and Ma says, "Now." We shake out our napkins, spread them on our laps, and flip over our glasses and plates, exposing neat circles. round comments on what life would be without the dust. Why is there neat circles? When they pick the plates and the glass up, why is there a circle? From what?
How long it's been sitting on that fabric?
So she just sat them there. She just set the table. So why would there already be a round circle? Because of the dust. Think about that. There's so much dust even blowing through into their house that when she sets the table and she puts the glass upside down, when she picks it up, she can see a circle from the dust. You think it gets everywhere? Yeah. Daddy says, the potatoes are peppered plenty tonight, Polly, and chocolate milk for dinner, aren't we in clover? When really all our pepper and chocolate, it's nothing but dust. I heard word from Livy Killian. The Killians can't find work. Can't get food. Livy's brother Reuben, 15 last summer, took off thinking to make it on his own. I hope he's okay. With the baby growing inside Ma, it scares me thinking, where would we be without somewhere to live, without some work to do, without something to eat? At least we've got milk, even if we have to chew it. February 1934. Breaking drought. After 70 days of wind and sun, of wind and clouds, of wind and sand, after 70 days of wind and dust, a little rain came. February 1934. Why do you think the author repeats of wind so many times? Because there's so much wind. The author's really trying to emphasize the fact that that's all there is going on is wind. All right, last one. Dazzled. In the kitchen, she is my ma. In the barn and the fields, she is my daddy's wife. But in the parlor, Ma is something different. She isn't much to look at, so long and skinny, her teeth poor, her dark hair always needing a wash. But from the time I was 4, I remember being dazzled by her whenever she played the piano. Daddy bought it, an old Kramer, his wedding gift to her. She came to this house and found gaps in the walls, a rusty bed, no running water, and that piano gleaming in the corner. Daddy gets soft eyes standing behind her while she plays. I want someone to look that way at me. On my 5th birthday, Ma sat me down beside her and started me to reading music, started me to playing. I'm not half so good as Ma. She can pull Daddy into the parlor even after the last milking when he's so beat he barely knows his own name. And all he wants is a mattress under his bones. You've got to be something to get his notice that time of day. But Ma can. I'm not half so good with my crazy playing as she is with her fine tunes and her fancy finger work. But I'm good enough for Arlie, I guess. March 1934. Right.